All this week I've been judging a punk rock World Cup on the Stephen Mac radio show on BBC Six Music. 16 punk bands were judged on their merits, getting whittled down to one winner. The final is today, and one of the bands there is the UK Subs, which is a heartwarming thing. The Subs don't get as much praise as they should, but they represent British punk rock at its most pure and unaffected, touring consistently and playing great shows. Because right now, somewhere in the world, the UK Subs are playing a gig. It could be in front of thousands of mohawk-tattooed street rats on the barrios of Brazil, or a full house for adoring teenage punks in Japan. It could be in some beat-up squat bar in San Francisco, where, like the rest of the USA, the band are treated as legends, as old punk rock bluesmen with a fistful of piratical tales dug from the seams of rock and roll. They could also be playing in a UK pub back room or a medium-sized European venue. Worldwide, the Subs are looked on as legends, living proof of the power of punk rock as rabble-rousing street poetry. Remarkably, frontman Charlie Harper, who is midway writing his own autobiography, is 66 and still performs with the gusto of a youthful kid on his first stint of hitting the gig circuit. Harper is a legend, an unsung legend, criminally ignored by the hipper-than-thou music media who sneer at his longevity while celebrating some of his contemporaries for theirs. Charlie himself is a national treasure and should be treated as such. He doesn't care what the media thinks, doesn't employ a PR, and just gets on with the business of playing great shows and flying the flag for punk rock. He should be honoured for this, and his life story celebrated. Instead, like mod, two-tone, goth, and a whole host of British invented street cultures, punk and its progenitors like Charlie are shunned and ignored in their home country by an indie-obsessed national media. With nearly 26 albums released in alphabetical order of titles, Harper's musical career mirrors all the ebbs and flows of British pop culture in the last 5 decades. To understand his roots, you understand what the UK Subs are not just a second-wave punk band, but a group whose magic is well thought of, and that is part and parcel of a long and winding road of British rock and roll. In many ways, the Subs are the last survivors not just of punk, but the UK blues boom of the early 60s, where Charlie has his roots firmly embedded. He was a contemporary of the Rolling Stones and started out at the same time as them in the bars and clubs of London, just when the British beat boom was finding its feet. He busked in the south of France in the late 60s. He played R&B in the pub rock boom, tweaked it slightly and became one of the quintessential punk rock bands in the punk rock explosion in 1977. He's continued on this long road since then. He's had a smattering of hit singles in the UK in the early 80s and remains one of the true troubadours of punk rock. You go to any UK Subs show, you're guaranteed an hour of molten, pure punk rock. But also, Charlie will sit there with the crowd watching the support bands, a genuine and real man of the people, whilst most of his contemporaries swan around backstage or back at the hotels sipping champagne. Charlie has a pint with the fans. Down to earth, 100% pure punk rock. I give you Charlie Harper.